Hey guys, it's Rush. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. This video today, I'm going to go over the GAMESIR G7 SE controller. This is an Xbox controller. It has a very similar layout to the Xbox Series S, Series X controller, but it does have some additional features. Now, in my opinion, this controller does a lot. It offers a lot out of the box. A lot of the things that are advertised are kind of standard now, I feel, for a lot of pads. But given the price point and some of the functionality, I think it's a really good controller to purchase. Probably better than the standard Xbox pad. But we'll go over this in more detail in this video. So I've purchased the pad in the dynamic blue color. There are other colors for this controller. This is not GameSir's flagship controller, but based on the spec and the price point, I feel like this was the best choice for my child. It's for Christmas, basically, for my youngest son. But given the price point, the performance, and some of the features, this is the best pad to go for, in my opinion, and we'll talk about that. But what you get out of the box, you get a manual, you get a USB Type-C lead, you get an Xbox Game Pass for 1 month, and you get some stickers. I actually don't know what this is. What is this? Okay, so it's just, yeah, just information, contact details, Discord. So you get some stuff out of the box with it. The cable is 3 meters. Now, this controller is wired only. It is not a wireless controller. So that's probably one of the downsides. I say downside based on what you're paying for this controller. I don't feel like it's a downside. And for me, I preferred wired controllers because of performance. Now, I know wireless technology has got a lot better, but you can't beat wired. And one of the main selling points of this pad is the fact that it's 1000 hertz polling. And I've tested this against the Turtle Beach, which is here, the Xbox Series S, Series S controller, and the 8-bit Do Pro 2 controller. This has the worst polling rate of 100 hertz, and these two pads, their polling rate is 250 hertz. So the GameSir controller is the fastest response time of all 4 of these pads because it has that 1000 hertz polling. So for me, the 1000 hertz polling is a big point, and it's interesting actually. They don't advertise that on the box. They don't mention the 1000 hertz polling because I feel that should be the standard these days. So I guess GameSir have the same mentality, but 1000 hertz polling. The other things that this pad offers is Hall effect sticks, which again is becoming quite standard now, but it's nice to see that on this pad. So better response, more life in the sticks, and will avoid stick drift. It has membrane buttons. Now the buttons, the face buttons don't feel very special, just kind of normal, but I prefer membrane. I said this many times on the channel over switches. Shoulder buttons, membrane again, that has a slightly more clicky feel. The triggers, standard triggers, you can't adjust the travel. The buttons themselves and the D-pad, they feel well built and well put together. Everything feels very ergonomically designed. Very simple, but very effective. It also has Hall effect triggers, so you're going to get longer life in these triggers as well, which is another nice feature. On the box, it mentions anti-slip handles. I mean, if I'm honest, they're nothing really special. It's just textured, so it does offer some level of grip, but that doesn't really make much of a difference in terms of grip. If you compare it to the Turtle Beach actually has rubber. The texture is more grippy, so you do actually get more grip with this. You actually can tell the difference. You can feel it's not slippy like on the plastic here. It's much more grippy, so that is a superior grip. But on the GameSir, that doesn't make much difference. So it does mention that is a thing, but yeah, slippy there, slippy here. It doesn't offer much difference. But you'll notice as well, and this again is another great point, it has rear paddles. It has a left and right rear paddle, and they're big as well. They're nice and big. They have a decent response. It's a bit, you can see there's a little bit of track, like you see there. I'm not actually pressing it, it's moving a bit. I prefer much more sharp and snappy paddles, but it does the job, it's okay. But what's really nice about this is you have locks as well. So if I pull that to the right, you can see I can't press it down now. It actually stops it from being pressed. That's really good, because if you only want to use one paddle, but you don't want to accidentally press the other one, I mean, you can remove the button assignment from the paddles. You're not going to get that feedback. So I could just, if you don't want to use them, just do that. And then it just feels like a normal pad. Yes, you can feel the paddles, but you're not going to press them by mistake. It has a 3.5mm audio jack at the bottom, and you can turn on and off the mic. That's what that button does there. And then you have this button here, so you can actually set profiles, and you can go into the different profiles from the pad itself. You don't need to go in the software to do that. To change profiles, you hold the M button and you just press one of the 4 face buttons, and that will change the profile configuration. So speaking of the app, let's get the controller plugged in, and I'll show you what the PC application allows you to do. Let's turn the pad on, and you can see the app picks it up straight away. It's very good, the application. So here you can set up your mappings. So in terms of, before we talk about mappings, actually, let's talk about the profiles. If I hold the M button, press the different buttons, you can see the profile at the top switches. But yes, once you're on your selected profile, you can then set your configuration. You can change dead zone. You can make changes to vibration. Here you can set like the trigger, dead zone, and at the bottom here you can see the polling rate. So you can actually change the polling rate. There is a specific warning here that the native trigger vibration has been disabled on 1000 Hertz. I'll be running it on 1000 regardless for optimal performance, but just be wary of that. And then here is where you set the rear paddles. So if you want to change the rear paddles, click on that and you can set the button assignments. You can actually set the directional inputs as rear paddles as well, which is very nice. So currently on the Y profile, I've got the left paddle set to X and the right paddle set to Y. So let's go to the testing option, and you'll be able to see if I press the right trigger now, sorry, not the right paddle is Y. See them both flashing, the paddle and the Y button, to illustrate that, you know, the mapping is set to Y for the right paddle. And left, you can see the X and the left paddle is flashing. So it's really nice. It's very, very good software. It's actually one of the better softwares I've seen for a controller. And also testing the polling rate, the response time with the 1000 Hertz. If I quickly do this, you can see that it reports 1065 Hertz polling rate, and the response time is 0.9 milliseconds. So very fast response time. What you expect for a 1000 Hertz controller. Again, I keep saying this. I don't know why controller manufacturers are making pads that are 100 Hertz, 250 Hertz polling. 1000 Hertz should be the standard. We want optimal performance. So we'll get some in-game testing done now, but I just want to emphasize that the price point of this pad in regards to what you get customizable profiles, you get the rear paddles. It's a very well-built controller. You get 1000 Hertz polling. Yes, there's no wireless functionality, but I think out of all of these pads that I just showed today, out of the 4 for the Xbox, for me, this comes top because the performance is great and it's a good controller. The price point is very good considering all things. So let's get down to some testing of the controller. I'm playing Quake 2 here, so a retro shooter, very fast paced, and I'm using the controller. Now normally for a first person game I would always go keyboard and mouse, but this pad performs very well. It doesn't do anything bad, it doesn't do anything exceptional, but it performs well. The inputs are crisp, they're clean, the button presses, the analog sticks and the touches with the configuration, with the button configuration that I like for this game, with the sensitivity set. Everything's perfect. Everything's in the right place. I don't have any mispresses or bad button presses. Everything just feels great. And the paddles on the rear, what I like about this is, it's a Quake 2 for the weapon wheel. I can use the paddles on the rear, set the configuration to be the weapon wheel and use that in game. So it feels fantastic. The response time, I don't really notice any delays with other pads, but there's no delay with this pad as well. And that is because of that 1000 Hertz polling. So if you are an FPS pad player, you'll love this controller. So if you don't know, this is a fighting game channel, so it makes sense to try this pad on a fighting game. So I'm trying Street Fighter 6 and I haven't spoken about the D-pad yet. So the D-pad is a cross-shaped D-pad, membrane buttons, and it's a one-piece D-pad. It's quite slippery, it's not textured. So that I say the texture of the actual pad itself is more textured than this. This is quite slippery and it does sit quite close to the body, like in terms of the height of it. When you press this down, kind of sinks into the body of the pad. Now, if you use the tip of your thumb, this is actually fine. So the inputs are actually very clean when you're using the tip of your thumb. It's actually a very nice D-pad. Very easy to do special moves and cancels with the tip of your thumb. But if you use the joint of your thumb like I do, it's not the best experience because your thumb will rub on the body of the controller and that's going to cause you to get misinputs. So it's probably more of you out there that use a tip of your thumb. So it's not bad. And if you prefer the D-pad being down there, this is a pretty good choice. And don't forget, for fighting games as well, you have these additional 2 buttons on the back to give you more mappings. That's a huge benefit to people that play fighting games that have the 4-button layout. I use a 6-button layout, but if you use 4 buttons, 4 shoulder buttons, you now get 10 buttons with the rear paddles. So that's really nice. The analog stick on here as well. I don't use analog stick for fighting games, but it feels okay. I mean, I'm not an expert, so it's hard for me to really judge, but it doesn't feel bad by any means. You can get the same special moves and cancels with no trouble. So if you're an analog stick user, I think the benefit of using this pad, if you are a fighting game player, is the analog stick feels great. But as I mentioned, you've got that high response time, the high polling rate, and you've got a number of buttons, including these rear paddles, that give you a lot of functionality when it comes to fighting games. So not bad. If you're a 4-button controller user, it's worth considering this. This is an Xbox pad, so it's ideal for Xbox and PC. But yes, if you're on PlayStation, then you will struggle. You won't be able to use this pad without an adapter. So that is it for the video, guys. I do really like this controller. I think it's the perfect Christmas gift for my son, because my son, he's young, so he plays Roblox and he's a big Rivals fan. He really enjoys Rivals. So I think this is going to be a significant upgrade for him playing Rivals on his Xbox console. But yeah, it's really good because of the price point and what you get for the controller. It's not trying to do anything exceptional, but everything it does very well. And that software is amazing. So shout outs to GameSir for what they've done with this controller. I feel like it's a mid-range pad, but that software is really, really good. Really setting the standard for controller customizable options and software. So great work to them. A really good pad, so I highly recommend it. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Any questions, any queries, always give me a shout, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.